Welcome to Victims and Villains. If you guys are new to our content, we create content like what you're watching, or in this case, listening to right now, simply to educate and engage individuals like yourselves on mental health awareness and suicide prevention through pop culture. My name is Captain Nostalgia. I'm a writer, podcaster, and the director of our film festival called Horrific Hope. If you guys would like more information about our film festival, our more movie reviews like this, podcast, social media links, Patreon, and most importantly, our mental health resource library. All of that can be found in the show notes below. As you can see, this is a little bit of a different format than what we usually run on this channel as far as movie reviews go. My schedule has just been a little bit too chaotic the past couple of days, and I still wanted to get my thoughts out on this movie and a couple other movies, and well, this was the best format I could do. So today we're going to be talking about Bodies. This movie is the latest from A24. It is a horror comedy slasher whodunit that is set in the vein of Scream. So if you grew up on Scream or have wanted to introduce other people of the younger generation to Scream, this is a perfect gateway into doing that. Bodies tells the story of a party game that goes wrong when an actual murder mystery game turns into, well, a murder mystery whodunit during a hurricane. The thing that I really like about this movie is that it is like Scream, but it takes away a lot of the meta nature of it. This is more timeless, I feel like, than any other films that have kind of come out in this vein. And when I say timeless, I mean timeless as in the sense of, while yes, this is a very of the age because of social media and group chats and text messages and the technology aspect of this movie, it works really well because, well, it is essentially about a group of friends that some stayed connected, some didn't, and it's about those that had essentially lost connection coming back into the fold with the friends who stayed connected. And I just found that with that aspect of it, the writers are really able to create a really solid, not only compelling piece about its characters and the girls at the center of it, but also at the same time, you can also have address a lot of really timeless themes as well. And so I'm probably going to butcher these names. The writers on this script are Sarah DeLappe and Kristen McLupin. I don't know. She was the story creator, so I apologize for not getting that just quite right. If you guys are new to my content, I typically suck at names. It's one of my biggest downfalls. But I think what this one does really well is it is able to really build that tension really well. And there's a couple scenes in the second and third act that really utilize the underlying tension between a lot of its core characters and the Amandla Stenberg character of Sophie, who's kind of initially was in this group and then kind of outcasted herself from this group, and it explores a lot of really grounded subjects of like drug addiction and what drug addiction actually does to those around you and the community, the people that really love you. But it also at the same time also explores a lot of kind of I keep coming back to timeless, but it is able to really do a good job at exploring things. On the front of horror, this movie works really well because it takes a lot of time to really lay the groundwork. I think that the hurricane as a backdrop setting for this with power outages really helps to weave in a lot of that tension really remarkably well. And on top of that, you have this murder mystery in-universe game that then turns into real life for the characters. I thought that was a fascinating angle to attend. And on top of that, it's just a really entertaining film while also at the same time being really funny. The writing in this movie is really witty. It's really smart. Again, I keep coming back to it because of Scream. It reminds me a lot of Kevin Williamson's original plot. But instead of commenting or being a meta on social commentary on slashers of the 90s, this one is kind of the toxicity not only of certain friendship groups, but also social media and the impact it can have. The performances in this movie, for it being a very limited cast, are all around really, really fantastic. I brought up Stenberg earlier. She does a great job. She really carries this movie, and then also you have supporting performances from people like Pete Davidson and Lee Pace that are also equally really good. Mia Bakalova, Rachel Sennott, Chase Sui Wonders, Myha'la Herrold, and I will not mention the other cast member in this because he's a part of the twist of this movie, but all of them do a really great job. I like the lighting of this. I thought that, again, having it set in not only a hurricane, but a blackout during a hurricane really helps that tension be woven really more authentically than it would otherwise, and kind of makes it feel a lot more intense and intimate also with these characters and with the horror aspects. Halina Reijn is the director behind this movie, and I think that they have truly crafted probably one of the best slashers that we have seen, not only in this year, but also in the last 10 years. If you guys were let down by Scream 5 or just the self-titled Scream of earlier this year, I think this is a movie that you need to give a chance to, because I think it definitely picks up where a lot of the other ones let down. But this movie only being an hour and a half, you never feel that weight because these characters are so well written, they're so well acted. This movie is paced tremendously. I love that the mystery element of this never feels like it's too heavy-handed. It never feels like it drags on or it's taking its time. This movie does red herrings really well. Once you kind of get the big reveal of the events of the movie, it is just absolutely a completely refreshing take on the whodunit genre that I just found really awesome and would have never in a million lives ever have guessed how this movie was going to end. And I loved every aspect of this movie. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 4 out of 5. I think this movie does everything really well. It's a great horror film. It's a great comedy. It's a fun movie. This is the kind of movies you go to the summers and see. But also at the same time, the soundtrack's booming, pacing as well. The acting is great. So bodies, 4 out of 5. And now it's time to talk about mental health. If you guys are new to our content, Mental Health Moment is where we take a theme of mental health and we talk about it from the movie, which we're reviewing in hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health. As I previously mentioned earlier, this film does tackle themes of addiction and kind of the people that you welcome into your life, or invite into your life rather, when it comes to not only enabling your addiction or your vice or whatever you want to call it, but on top of that, the recovery process. And this is told through the lives and the eyes of Sophie, who is the one that has the addiction problem, or rather had the addiction problem and now is sober, and kind of how she's integrating back into, I don't want to say society, but this group of friends that really kind of enabled her addiction. And throughout the course of this movie, you can really see and really understand why she has kind of distanced herself from these people, and why she essentially at this point also doesn't want anything to do with them. And I just want to speak to that from someone that has a lot of friends that are currently in the recovery community and or have gone through the recovery community, that who you place in your life after the recovery process, after the initial decision to be sober and stay sober, really does matter. Because not only because your mental health and your addiction have become, can it be argued, that have become intertwined to where one is essentially shaking the hand of the other, and the people that you surround yourself really do affect your mental health. And I just want to encourage anyone listening to this right now that surround yourself with like-minded community people. I know in the past I've talked about openly about my pornography addiction, and my pornography addiction, the way that I've been able to overcome and stay more clean now than I have in the past has been because of surrounding myself with like-minded people that are willing to challenge me and to hold me accountable. And sometimes in the recovery process, or overcoming, or just, resetting portions of your life, you need the people that are going to challenge you to grow, and that are going to challenge you during the tough times and the hard times. And those are the people that are going to be there for you throughout the end. And I just hope this is encouraging. I don't want to diminish anyone else's past experiences with drugs, vices, addictions, whether that has been drugs, whether it's been pornography, gambling, video games, etc. Like the choice to be not addicted or sober in this case it really does come down to the community that you surround yourself with during the recovery process. And I just hope that that's a really encouraging thing to you to do, because in the end, the people that you are surrounding yourself with during that change are going to affect your mental health for either the better or the worse. And as always, if you are someone you know is struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, please click the links in the show notes below to check out our mental health resource library. And go check out Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's now playing everywhere from 8/24. Have a good night.